Be Inspired TV. Everything in life can be taught, and it's possible that you can be at the level you aspire to be in life. Join your host, Pastors Lenmo and Nancy Tarengwa, as they take us through inspired life success tips.
Hello everyone, I welcome you to our exciting program, Be Inspired, where we share with you some most powerful insights that sets up the tone for the greater impact and effectiveness in whatever you do. In today's program, we talk through the life of a multifaceted entrepreneur whose interests span from construction, ICT, education, and energy. He is the founder of Contact Center Association of Zimbabwe, the Tech24 Group, Facelift, Construction, Energy Plus International, and Chartered Institute of Customer Management, which is in 14 countries. He is a multi-award winner, inclusive of the Desmond Tutu Fellowship, India, Africa, Young Visionary Award, Crans Montana Leaders Tomorrow, among others. In my singular pleasure to introduce to you Mr. Rinos Mautsa. Welcome to the program.
Thank you for having me.
Allow me to ask you some few questions today so that we shed insight and understand how you become who you are today. My first question to you, Mr. Mautsa, at what point did you understand or did you know that you were about to start or to be an entrepreneur?
Okay. No, thank you so much for asking that and for having me once again. I started, entrepreneurship can be taught or you can be born in it after learning from the experience of those around you. So my mother, obviously, I lost my father when I was very young. And seeing my mother who was a civil servant then, it was so difficult for her to maintain and sustain the same lifestyle that we used to have when my dad was still around. So she started to also selling some stuff so for us to remain in the boarding schools where we were. And we used to help her as well. So because of that same experience, I realized that it is possible for an individual to really make it out there. And so that when I completed my advanced level, I went to do temporary teaching. Remember, in those days, especially in the mid-2000 or early 2000, it was so easy for an advanced level student to get a temporary teaching place. So after temporary teaching, I got some few cash. With that cash, I didn't buy anything else. I was waiting to go to my varsity. So I used the same cash to buy what was trending there those days, a home theater. So I bought a home theater and I went to college at MSU. Whilst I was at MSU, I was showing some movies. So Friday, Saturday, Sunday, I was showing some movies at college. So it was so easy because I was getting cash at college. So it was just happening naturally. So that's when I learned that if you pursue anything, automatically God will also make some provisions for you to make it out there. And I also had some tuck shops so that I ended up buying my first car when I was 19 years at college as a student.
Wow.
So it was so easy. So it can be taught and it can be learned as well. That's what I've get to realize.
Wow. This is Mr. Rinos Mautsa telling us his journey of being an entrepreneur. At the age of 19, he bought his first car. My second question to you, Mr. Mautsa, have you ever, during your journey, worked for anyone? And what did you learn during that time? That is, if you have worked for someone. And also, at what stage now did you thought, I think I'm ready now to start my own empire?
So, okay. So what happened when I completed now my varsity? Remember, it was a journey because I made money when I was young, but I didn't have mentorship. And it was new money, so in Shona, not in Zungu. So I didn't need Zungu coming from such a background where I didn't have such, lavish lifestyle and stuff. So at college, I had a lot of money to spend and I could travel when I was young. And in the process, we have a lot of friends. So after completing my studies, I went to South Africa to further up my studies. And when I came back, I didn't have those money. I started selling everything. So I was forced in 2010 to look for a job. So I went to Telecel as my first job, working in the contact center. And that's when I realized and I saw the gap that you can actually, there's a new demand for contact centers in Zimbabwe because no one was doing it. So I established my first company then whilst I was working at Telecel. And I went also to work for Tel1 I was now a head of contact center and customer experience. And I was very young. I was the youngest manager at Tier 1. From there, I went to Zua Petroleum, and I was also a head marketing there, and I was also very young. And in the process, I mean, throughout those journeys, I mean, that journey, sorry, I learned, I mean, a lot of things, especially the processes, to say, how can you establish solid processes that can sustain your business going forward. Because what usually happens with many entrepreneurs, I think maybe you can attest to that. If you are to check many Africans, we make a lot of money in the first 10 years maybe, or 20 years. Then after that, or just maybe let me use an example. In the rural areas, we used to have that successful business person. They used to have a lot of money, some trucks, some cars and stuff. But if you have to go back and check, they are grounded. They don't have all those things, but they don't have the processes that can sustain the wealth to the next generations. So that's what I learned now, to come up with processes, procedures, to learn that if you have money in your company, it's not your money. If I was given grace to start a business, that's not my business alone. It's now, I'm just a custodian. I was just given that grace to start. So I should also, the money that I get there, I should be on salary. So these are the things that I learned. So if I can be broke right now, whilst my company has a lot of money. Why? Because I wait for my salary. Because those are the processes that I learned. So there are many things. I mean, right now for my business, we are working towards ISO certification. I learned all those things, I mean, from other companies as well, where I went through learning the processes and procedures, how to manage the finances, how can you grow your company beyond borders. That's why we managed to set up offices and operations also beyond Zimbabwe. So that's what I've learned from the other companies.
Wow. Everything in life can be taught. Yeah. You can be the best person who you want to be if you just learn to be humble. As you've learned from Mr. Mautsa, how he has been, the Lord has been raising him through the ranks of submission, through the ranks of honor. Now he's one of the people that people emulate from a distance. But still, everything is never too late for you. You can be taught to be a better man. Mr. Mautsa, I still have a question for you. As the boss of all these empires, how do you relate now with your workers? Some economic challenges, they face economic challenges every day, and sometimes they need someone to talk to. Do you have an interaction with your workers, or there are some structures where your workers doesn't even come anywhere near you? How do you relate with your workers?
So it's so unfortunate that I don't have one of my employees maybe to maybe testify to this. But with my employees, we don't have a boss-subordinate relationship. We don't have a boss in my company. So yes, I have structured, I mean, our structures are so well-defined. So for the other company, we have, for example, my institute, Chartered Institute of Customer Management. The CEO is a white South African, and she's based in South Africa. That's where our head offices are, and we've managed to set up operations in other countries. And I'm the majority shareholder of that institute. And even for the companies that I'm running directly here in Zimbabwe, you find that my employees, I have an open door policy. They can get into my office anytime. We call each other by names. They say Rinos, they don't say Miss Mautsa or whatsoever. And what's funny is, Pastor Lenny, we went, for some awards, and one day another person was saying, I thought he was your boss, one of my managers, because of the way he looked more, is bigger than me and stuff. And obviously from the physical outlook, he looks more like a boss and stuff. So we don't have that. We are so open. Our relationship with my team is so open. But at the same time, there's mutual respect amongst the peers and also between me and my team members. Remember, at the end of the day, they're the ones who are working hard to make the money. The fact that they are here, it means they know some things that I don't know. So if I fail to respect them, they will go. And once they leave the company, it will collapse. Because I was just given the grace to start. But someone has that grace to take my company further. So if I fail to respect them and to look up to them as well for the things that I don't know, then I will never grow.
Wow, as you can hear, this is a champion already, answering every question without stammering. He's a champion indeed. I hope you are being inspired on this program. And Mr. Mautsa, I've got another question. In this question now, I want to talk about your relationship or your day-to-day life. Looking at the empires that you run and having a wide number of employees in your company, I understand you're a family man, you are married. How do you deal with the temptations now of, especially one of the major things that are making young entrepreneurs not to go up is women. How do you handle this subject? I mean, how do you handle women over your life? Being young, being someone who has made it in life, who is up there, and I understand women can be one of your challenges if you are not careful. As an entrepreneur, how do you handle that?
Yeah, that's a very interesting subject. I know we have learned from those who have been there in the trenches before us. Remember, mentorship is one of the greatest things, I mean, not only in entrepreneurship. Even if you want to advance in your career, you have to look to say, okay, we have made it within the same field that I'm pursuing. And you can go to that person to say, how did you do it? So similarly in business, we are also learning from those who have made it. And some of the people, they are the people that made some millions and they no longer have those monies. So we go to them and say, but how did you fail? So that at least I won't repeat the same mistake. And what you are actually saying is one of the things also that was raised to say, you know what, you have to be careful and stuff. So you have to, for example, we travel a lot. Sometimes you go with your wife. It also saves you from a lot of other things. But at the same time, it's about discipline, that self-discipline, because you have to set some standards to say, this is what is going to define me going forward. So even if you don't have your wife around, with your principles and the discipline that you set for yourself, it will really sustain you. And at the same time, business is spiritual. That's what I believe. And I think everything in life actually is spiritual.
Wow.
So that's in true. Business now, other people, they use other things for them to be successful. And us, we believe, me and my friends, if I'm saying us, because I don't know about other people, but my friends, we really believe that everything that we have done and that we are doing is God-inspired, because we are nothing without God. So I play with a lot of pastors, and I also have a father in the Lord. Apostle Jawa is always emphasizing, son, never delve in such territories. You fail or you fall. So these are the things that will also help us to go forward, and of course the Word of God. So it really helps. Not that I'm perfect, but I'm really guided by the Word of God and also the biblical principles.
Well, as you have heard from the horse's mouth, principles place. No matter how educated you are, no matter how anointed you are, if you don't run by the principles, you can fall. This was Mr. Mautsa, one of the most decorated business entrepreneur in Zimbabwe, in Africa, and in the whole world. Mr. Mautsa, thank you so much for coming to our program. Looking forward to having you again. God bless you.
No, thank you so much, Pastor Lenny. And maybe the parting remarks. So it's not just, there's this word from Jeremiah, chapter 1, verse 7 or 6. The word of God came to Jeremiah and said, what do you see? And Jeremiah said, I see branches in an almond tree. Then the word went on to say, you've seen well. I'm watching over my way to perform it. So I just want to say to those who are watching, and also to an aspiring young entrepreneur, or you want to progress and grow in your career, but you don't know how to do it. Whatever that you are seeing right. Never be negative about yourself. You are not too poor to pursue your dreams. You are not, because all these successful people, they were poor at some point. We were poor at some point. And you are not too young to be what you want to be. We have young billionaires who started their empires in their early 20s, starting from ground zero. So, and you are not too old to be what you want to be. KFC founder, Colonel Sanders, he started his business after he was 60. So those are the words that I'm just leaving to the viewers.
Well, you have heard for yourself. Yeah. This was Mr. Rinos Mautsa. You can be who God created you to be. If you want to be inspired, be inspired. May God literally bless you. Thank you so much, Mr. Mautsa, for coming to our program. God bless you.
Okay, thanks so much.
The Lord expects us to be creative, innovative, and empowering. To achieve this, join Pastor Lenny on the next episode of Be Inspired as he gives us some more life success tips. Thank you all for listening to this episode of Be Inspired. I hope you have been inspired by today's program, and I also hope you will put to act and practice everything that we have discussed today. Let's meet again next time as Pastor Lenny gives us more success tips.